This week on Brewpig, some of our chock fasting went great, and some didn't. We built some brackets so we can control the engine from the bridge, and we started some steel racks so that we can store our stainless while we're at sea. We're getting so close to launching Brewpig that we're even putting a date on it in this video. If you watch through to the end, you'll be able to tell when we're going to launch. For the third time-ish. If you'd like to be involved and support the project, please consider joining us on Patreon or subscribe to the channel on YouTube. In order to get the gearbox running, we need to get the oil system on this running. So we need to be able to start the engine. It has to have oil in the gearbox. Now, these two black pipes over here are our gearbox keel cooling system. So keel cooling is basically the pipes that are on the underside of the boat. You might have seen them in previous videos. You can see them here. They run from where they go through the hull here, and they come up the back of the boat here, and then all the way back down, and they come back into the boat. So what happens is hot oil from the gearbox gets pumped into one side of one of these pipes, it doesn't matter which one. It then circulates through that pipe on the outside, and the heat gets transferred into the sea. So it's seawater cooled, if that makes sense, but it's a closed loop, so you never have any seawater coming into the boat. It's an incredibly basic but highly effective way of cooling. So these pipes here fit the old gearbox, they don't fit this gearbox. So we need to make a few mods. This has a little wee oil filter on it from factory, but we're going to be adding a much bigger filter. So this filter lives just there, so that's where it's going to be mounted in the end. This is a little hydraulic pump, so it pumps oil from, picks it up out of this pipe here, which is the sump of the gearbox, comes through this pump, pushes it into this filter, and then from there we're going to actually be doing a U-turn and going into a keel cooling system. Then it's going to be coming out of the keel cooling system and going back into the gearbox. So the gearbox will see nice cool oil, so it will be filtered and then it'll be pushed through the keel cooling, and then it'll be put into the gearbox. Normally this gearbox uses a hot water heat exchanger, so I call it a hot water heat exchanger because it's using the engine coolant, which is about 80 degrees Celsius. Seawater is going to be colder, so we're going to have much more efficient cooling using seawater than using this. We will, however, be using this as a heat exchanger for our veggie oil, so we'll be using this as a means to heat the veggie oil.
You would have seen in our last episode we had a little mishap when we were pouring the chock vast for our engine mounts. Here's what happened.
Watching for leaks.
It's coming out the side here.
How much?
Tape?
Can we just tape it?
Yep.
Yep.
It's coming out the end. It's coming out the end.
Oh, stop.
Cost.
Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
Yep. It's quite a lot.
Yep.
I'm going to get underneath and stop it getting onto this. Can you throw me more?
Yeah.
Is anything coming down at the bottom?
Okay, get your plug. We're plug ready.
Yeah, it's pulling into the bilge.
It's spilling down
It's
at the
going down the other
bottom.
side.
Fuck me.
I don't think we're going to be able to block that. It's holding?
I think so.
There's a wee bit on the side there coming
There
out.
is.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Going there.
So there is a leak.
This one?
One
Your
leak.
tape?
Yeah, the rest is pretty good, eh?
Tape?
Thanks.
Looks good rounded.
Yeah.
Let's get the other one sorted. That's really good. One's work.
If we can. Where's this going to sit?
Is it still flowing?
I'm not sure,
It's a sort of a really slow lava sort of flow.
but I think it's not
We've got-
pouring out more.
No, it's not pouring. I don't think we've lost much height on that end hole, really.
No.
No.
So, keep going?
I'm sort of thinking we keep pouring so we can't interrupt it, really.
Can go down
Yeah,
there.
yeah, true. Okay, I'm just going to pour a little bit. Oh, we've got some at the front.
Yep.
Okay. You guys, you right around your edges?
I think so. There's nothing there yet.
Okay. How are we underneath?
Can you see anything there? Reaching the bilge?
Nothing reaching the bilge.
Okay. Is there any leaking at all?
I can't see any at this end.
Alright, good.
Okay.
Looks pretty wide.
So one mount is going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, front one's good.
Are you still having leakage over there?
I think so.
Can we work on stopping that?
I'm not sure.
Can already slow down. Stop. I need a bang. Wooden bang. There you go.
Doesn't matter, anything.
gosh.
For fuck's sake. I need
What happened?
rags, lots of rags.
Yeah, Rex.
Can you jam some on the other side as well?
There's a gap in the middle. This went on for a while, trying to keep the dams together and stop the leaks until we realised it was a losing battle. I think the new one? Yeah, there's a new pole here.
Can we?
It's on this corner, I think.
Oh, it's a very weak level.
I don't like the idea of the rags and everything in here damming up. The reason being is because we're basically damming it on top of our bolts to undo the engine. I think we just walk away from these back mounts. I think we start again.
Well,
Potentially lift the gearbox.
for the rags, it's already out.
Yeah,
It's already
yeah.
flat out.
Like we're basically putting chock fast all over our bolts to undo the gearbox.
Yeah.
It's just a mess. I think we just give up on these back mounts.
Yep.
We've got big puddles forming down the side of the bilge now with a puddle in the bilge, and we're trying to jam it up with rags. So we're going to have rags basically welded between the gearbox and the hull. It's just going to be a mess. We're never going to get those out. So what I'm thinking is abandon it. And,
pull all the rags?
well, maybe we should. Because what I'm
It's going to
thinking.
be a hell of a mess if you leave the rags in there.
Yeah, it is. Maybe we do pull the rags
Okay.
because the chock fast is going to be jammed in between the gearbox mount and our actual bolts. Like we're probably going to even fill our bolts up to undo the gearbox mounts off the gearbox. So I think we literally abandon these mounts, and even it sounds extreme, but maybe even go to the extent of lift the gearbox off the motor, clean it all out again, and bloody have another go at sealing the dams and do it again properly.
The only point in keeping them in is to try and keep
Yeah.
the shock
Yeah.
bus and
And
it's
we
coming
can't,
out.
and it's already too
The flood's
late.
already happened.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah.
let's get it back. These are rubbish.
A crappy
Rubbish
thing.
bin up here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Can I have a clean rag? I just want to wipe the shit on the gearbox.
Yeah. It'll have to be rags.
So it's clear.
Release the flood
Take
rags.
the tape off. Oh, it's coming out now.
Yeah.
You can wipe those off.
They might glue to the bottom though.
I mean, we'll pull them before the
Alright.
it sets, you know. It's going to take a while to set, isn't it?
Well, it's just.
I'm pulling now.
Oh, it's just absolutely pissing down.
I'm pulling.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just be careful to not get it on the.
There we go. So you got the. Yep.
Got a pretty full on one.
Well,
Dam.
Right, yeah.
Okay, I'm taking the tape off.
well, actually, that's good.
Coming to the end of our time here on the hard stand and aiming for launch soon. We've got brackets to make to get things like metal on board and kayaks and boats. So I start working on that while the guys keep going on the motor.
So these brackets that Jess is making, we decided to throw a gusset in the bottom so it'll sit like that on the back of the wheelhouse wall, so it's nice and sort of, braced and solid. And then that gives us the ability to tie stuff on, along here and put a strap over it type thing. And this is going to essentially be a metal rack sitting underneath the lip on the wheelhouse roof.
Ready for tomorrow for some welding.
So it's a new day, tale of lessons. Look at this. This is all set. A little bit of a leak there, but overall that's worked really well. And then look at these guys. It looks fine so far, until you come around the back. So, we learnt a bit, but you know us, we're not ones to cry over spilt chock fast. Alright, this is definitely a serious and somber moment, so I'm going to keep the dad jokes to a minimum. What does this actually mean and where does this leave us? So, we thought last night that our timeline was going to be pretty heavily impacted, but we think we can probably get away without too much impact. So basically what we need to do, it's a bit of a pain. It does set us back, but nowhere near as much as we thought, probably a few days. What we need to do is lift the gearbox out, clean all of that chock fast out of the bilge, clean all the mounts off, basically start again, but build better dams. And that's the lesson we learnt when we poured this yesterday. The front dams were 99% good enough. There was a little leak in one corner, but we could fix that with tape while it was happening, so no big deal. The rest of them were just absolutely garbage, and like reviewing everything that happened in our heads and that sort of thing, there's absolutely no way it was going to work. We just didn't do a good enough job on the dams. So that's the plan going forward, is we're going to focus hugely on making much better dams so that it doesn't leak. If the dams don't leak, Chockfast is amazing. It pours incredibly easy. It's a piece of cake to work with. But you've got to spend all your time on those dams. So we're carrying on with a few other jobs in the engine room that we were going to do anyway, regardless of the Chockfast. So Duncan is still carrying on with the Brunette box, getting this thing up and running. He's got it starting to talk. So now we're going through and making sure all the sensors are connected correctly and that he's got everything working up on the bridge. We've got a couple of little electronic boxes in here that are throwing out some weird signals, sentences and stuff that don't make sense. So he's just figuring that out, and then we're going to do a run through and show you what that system can do, because there's sort of no point in us telling you about it most of the time because it's very developmental at this stage. But once we've sort of solved what we need to solve, then it becomes a sort of a hardened system that we will be able to run the boat from, which is cool. Daniel in the States, he's been working on a automated grease filling system so that we can start lubing our prop shaft and our rudder down the back end of the engine room here. That's happening, and that also ties into Brunette. It has a little sensor on it that tells us how often the shafts are being lubricated, which is pretty damn cool. Right, my job today and Burke's job is going through and getting other stuff on the engine built. So coolant pipes, header tank, brackets for throttle, for the gearbox and for the engine, and then once those sorts of things are done, we're going to order another can of Chockfast today. We reckon we can get away with 1 can for these back mounts if we do them properly, and take account of not having any leaks this time, which probably make a difference. And then once we are up to that stage, we can probably even get close to starting the engine soon. We were aiming for starting the engine in 2 days time, but that's not going to happen. It'll be next week. But we're not, as I say, we're not massively impacted on terms of timelines, but we are delayed slightly. Pretty cool development. We were struggling to get P-clamps, nice stainless P-clamps. And there we go, you can give you a good look at them. Rubber coated stainless P-clamps. So we were trying to figure out where we can actually access these from, and one of our Patreons sent us a couple. When I say a few P-clamps, this is a parcel that arrived from Roderick Day. So he sent us 10 packets in this box. So each packet has a multitude of sizes, anything from 6mm up to 19mm. And there's, practically a lifetime supply of P-clamps in here, and they're all really decent stainless ones. So this is flipping amazing. So thank you so much, Roderick, for sending this through. It's flipping amazing having the support of our crew and our Patreons to be able to get parts that we just can't access where we are in Australia. So it's incredibly appreciated on board. Okay, key job I need to do before we launch is move this throttle for the main fuel pump on the Cummins. I need to start linking the throttle cable, the Morse cable that takes this control up to the bridge. But the cable, as you can sort of see, comes from the roof down, and this here is a forward and back. Now I could do some sort of like loop back like that, so it's sort of, there you go, you can have a bit of a better view. So it comes down, does a big arc and goes around. I don't know if I'll do that, or if I'll rotate this around to be either that way or that way, because this is just a spline. You can change this and then have it more sort of come down vertical like that and pull up and down. I just have to have a bit of a think and then come up with a plan for that. So with Duncan's help, we've done some measurements on this to find out what the throw on this is, and it's 23mm. So by moving these holes down to this point here, I'll drill a new hole in this arm, move it down to here. When that moves back and forth, that is about 23mm. So if we had it up here, we wouldn't get full throttle. If we had it down here, the throttle would only move a little bit and it would be a huge variation. So by moving it to there, we'll get the full throw of the lever upstairs. Right, I've moved the lever around. You can see it's adjusted here to a weird angle, and I've built this template out of structural cardboard. So what I'm thinking is I'll use these 2 bolts here because it's fairly chunky fine thread, imperial fine thread, so UNF. I've got gussets everywhere, so you can see them all on that side there. And then that will mount like so. Probably build this out of stainless, I think. And then that positions this at about that sort of angle, which directly ties onto the lever here, pulling sort of up and down on that angle there. So, time to build. So I found this piece of 3mm stainless plate, so I'm going to translate this across, get my template over onto the stainless plate, and then start cutting it out. We'll fold it up, and then I'll TIG weld everything together. There we go. They come up pretty bloomin' square. There's one. Flip that around. There's two. So this is the engine side, this is going to be the throttle bracket. We've got one gusset that'll sit in there like that, and the other will sit in there like that. So overall we've got quite a lot of strength going down that way. We'll have the two big bolts over here that hold it, and then this gives us a big flat plate on this side here that we can figure out where we're going to mount that, the little bracket that holds that Morse cable.
You need ventilation in here?
Yeah, I'm just going to hook this thing up. I've swapped over this end here. This one here is the old one. This is a new one. I've swapped that over because I've actually managed to lose this piece here and I can't get a replacement for that. This is just a little ball joint that allows this end to swivel. We lost these when we lost the old engine, so we never took it off the fuel pump, silly me, and when we changed the gearbox I never took it off the gearbox, so don't have that end. So we ended up ordering two of these little guys here, this whole end unit. So we're just going to drill that and fit that into that now, so I'll get that bolted on, but that will allow this bracket to be bolted in like so, and then we can start getting the cable connected up to the throttle. Alright, fitting on. So these little things are basically quick disconnect, quick connect things. So it's a spring-loaded little Y piece that slides over the ball valve, so you can sort of see the dimple of the ball valve. That little metal piece hooks over it. So you can take these off and put them on pretty rapidly, just like that. And that's connected. Now we just need to get our bracket in the right spot so we can start controlling the throttle from the wheelhouse. Right, so I'm going to take a pause on that bracket because the two bolts that I need to fit to the engine here are a silly size. I think the 916 UNF, not 100% sure. So Jess has zipped into town. She's going to grab 1/2 inch 916 and 5/8, I think, is the next one up, whatever. We're getting a selection of bolts, UNF, and then we're just going to figure out which one's the right one, and they're going to be the right length anyway to be able to bolt this in. Because I also want to put fill all of the holes up with bolts. So these holes are basically going rusty because we can't get paint in there. We can't have the engine room stinking with like lanolin or CRC or something like that for Jess. So what we're going to do, rather than try and get paint in there and stop that rust, we're actually going to put bolts in all of those holes and just seal them up, do it that way. So this is also going to help us figure out what thread they are so that we can get the right bolts for that. So we're going to take a break on that and we're going to get stuck into something else. Something else is connecting our keel cooling pipes to the engine. So to do that, we've got a whole bunch of stainless curves that we need to weld in. So under the floorboards, beside the Cummins and beside the workbench, we've got these two keel cooling pipes that come up from our keel cooling and go through. Some people are going to complain we don't have a ball valve. That's been like that for 50 years, and it's a massive steel structure underneath. The entire boat, when it ran aground, rested on these, and no damage occurred, so I'm not worried about that. It's not a fussy little wee ball, skin fitting like you'd have on recreational yachts. This is massive Schedule 40 piping. So, right, now that we've had that disclaimer over, we need to bring the stainless pipes up. We need to link onto this pipe here, and to this pipe just here. So, we're going to do some wiggly stainless welding, and we're going to have some rubber connections up at these ends here. Pretty windy up, 8 days until launch. Got to get these brackets, got to get them welded across underneath the lip there, because that's our metal storage. So we're going to store these pieces of steel that are going to be stainless steel that are going to become a storage rack, as well as these aluminium poles, which are the mast for the laser. So they all has to be fitted in there today before we head to sea. And then it also gives us a chance to start working on this back end of the wheelhouse. We're not going to be doing that probably before launch, but we need to put a window over here, which is also going to be an escape hatch. That one there, sorry, is also going to be another little opening hatch, temporary opening hatch, until we fit our next air conditioner. We're going to get another one of these units, which will be right there. But that needs to happen soon, so not before we launch. First up, let's get these guys in. There we go, that's looking much tidier. So you can sort of see it's all stacked up neatly underneath the roof. Pretty well protected from weather, but it's all stainless and alloy, so it doesn't really matter. I need to go through and paint those there, but yeah, we'll probably do that in the next few days. I'm not worried if it rusts, because we can rust kill it and then use our 2-pack epoxy system that we use. But that's actually pretty darn cool, I'm happy with that. Oh,
Slowly.
God, it doesn't like, it's like the worst possible bonding conditions, and this stuff still doesn't want to come off. It's amazing.
Time to see how that front mount turned out. Get the dams off. Let's see how it looks.
I don't know if you can hear it, but Damien's hammer drilling on the side of the hull. He's sorting out the last bits on the hull. Burker's welding the kayak bracket down in the engine room on the bench. I'm editing, and Duncan has just left with Julie. Thank you guys so much. An amazing 2 weeks. You got through so much. I hope you sleep on the way home. And we have an announcement. We are 4 days from launch. Attempt 3. So it's really important everyone wears their big girl pants, big boy pants, because we may find a leak, we may find something goes wrong. That's life, but it's looking really good. We think we're on schedule for a good launch. It's first thing in the morning. There's a boat to go in before us, so it should be around 8:30. It's the 12th of October, we're going in. We're having our live feed with our patrons this weekend. We're going to go through procedures and what's next and what could go wrong, and discuss it with them. So pretty exciting times. We're all exhausted. Burke's booked his flight back to Germany for a couple of months break, and then he's decided he's coming back. He was tossing up whether to study at university or not, starting this year, but looks like he's starting next year and going to be coming with us, so we're really excited about that. We'll be counting down with you the next few days. Right now I've got to get this episode out to you.
It's becoming a regular feature on the channel, waiting for Chockfast to arrive. We've got another container. There's a reason for that. There are a few commenters that put some amazing information in a previous video. Tamara Lee, Matt Daz, and John West. You guys gave us some really good information that we didn't know, and it was mainly about how do we align the engine and gearbox whilst we're in the water. We know that it's better to align in the water, but we didn't necessarily know how to do that per se, and they gave us the answer. So we're going to launch without an engine, and then we're going to get towed into a berth. We're going to let the boat just sit in the water for a couple of days, 48 hours, something like that, and we're going to do our alignment in there once the boat's settled down. At the moment we're sitting on the hard stand, so the full weight of the boat is sitting on the keel, and the stands on the side don't do anything, they just basically stop the boat from tipping over, but the boat is essentially drooping on its keel, if that makes sense. It's probably very, very small amount, but it's still an amount. When we're sitting in the water, the complete opposite is the other way around. The hull supports the boat and the keel droops, and that's the state that we need to align it in. So we're going to basically do all of our alignment and everything again, but we're going to be doing it whilst we're floating. So as always, thank you so much for those comments. It's our community that makes this boat get better and better. So without your comments, without the advice that you guys put into this project, it wouldn't be what it is today. So thank you so much.